Nobody's ever gonna take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Welcome back to the Gen X Juggler podcast. I'm so glad you're here. So, I got to experience a little blast from the past this week. My parents wanted some things out of storage, and as I was searching for those things, I found one of those wood grain boxes with the drawers that held VHS tapes, the kind we all used to have stored in our entertainment centers growing up. In it were some westerns that my granny used to record for my dad because she had cable and we didn't. That actually made trips to Granny's house in the 80s very fun for this country girl because I also wanted my MTV. That box also contained several home movies from when I was a teenager. This is cool for two reasons. The first one being, of course, that it's fun to look back at our teenage years in living color, although my daughter said she was shocked they weren't in black and white. Thanks, kid. The second, more unique reason is that my parents lost most of their belongings in a house fire 10 years ago, to include most of my baby pictures and photos from my childhood. The only reason all were not lost is because my parents had their floors redone 3 days before the fire and had moved everything out of the living room into a cargo trailer they had on their property so the new wood floors could be installed. Fortunately, they had moved some, but not all, of their stuff back into the house at the time of the fire, so a few photos were saved. And so was this box of VHS tapes. I was excited to see what was on them, but I must admit I was a bit nervous as I popped that first tape in the VCR. I remember my teenage years from an insider's perspective. I knew the anxiety and pressure and fear of the future the girl I was about to observe felt at that time. See, she was a people pleaser. She wanted to perform to the standards of others in all things. She was good at displaying confidence, but in reality, she didn't have a whole lot. She felt like an almost at everything. She was almost thin enough, almost pretty enough, almost good enough at whatever she did. Almost, almost, almost. But as I watched her on that 30-year-old videotape, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't see an almost. I saw a kid who was having fun, smiling, enjoying her friends and her high school activities. She was just every other American teenager. It was cool to see her like that. It's a shame she couldn't see it then. I speak about her in the third person because I feel like she is a totally different human being than I am today. Sure, I'd love to go back into that 16-year-old body where everything worked as it should, wouldn't we all? And it might be nice to go back to the way I saw the world before the inevitable slings and arrows of life nuanced my perspective. But I don't know how many of us would actually trade where we are today for the insecurities of our teenage years. That girl had a lot to learn. She made some decisions that would cost her, and learned valuable lessons along the way. She is now me, with almost 50 years of valuable experience behind me, and I hope I continue to grow and learn for the next 50. Isn't it nice that we've had all this time to get to know ourselves? We're clear on what we have to offer and where we still need improvement. I'm pleased to say that my give a darn busted long ago, and I no longer worry about the opinions of others as I move through life. I'm firmly secure in the knowledge that all the people I know are too busy worrying about their own lives to be the least bit concerned with mine. There's such freedom that comes from aging into that realization, a freedom which I would imagine most of us enjoy at this point. I think the goal these days is for our lives to be satisfying and interesting to us and useful to those around us. And since we've only got one shot at it, why not give it all we've got, right? I would venture to say that there is more information available to us now about how to live our best lives than ever before. We're only one Google search away from all the information we could ever want about physical and mental health, nutrition, exercise, any topic of our choice to help us make the most of the lives we've been given. Of course, we Gen Xers have always cared about our health. I certainly did my time in front of the television listening to Jane Fonda remind me, don't forget to breathe. That always made me laugh. I had this mental image of two people at a funeral staring into a casket, one of them saying, "Do you know what happened?" And the other one going, "I don't know, I guess she just forgot." We have always cared about our health. Unfortunately, we just had a bit of bad information back then. I remember eating an entire box of those dry Snackwell Devil's Food cookies after school and being so proud of myself that I was enjoying a fat-free, healthy snack. Eggs were easier on our budgets, but bad for our hearts. And Cocoa Puffs were part of a complete breakfast. Things hadn't improved much by the mid to late 90s either. When I was 22, trying to lose weight after my first baby, my cousin gave me some herbal weight loss pills called Slender Essentials. They were awesome. I was never hungry, and they were all natural. What could be better than that? However, I realized they might not be the best choice for me after a 45-minute drive where I never stopped talking, and talking fast, for the entire drive, even though I was the only one in the car. I'm not sure from which natural source these little weight loss miracles were derived, but if I had to venture a guess, I'd say the leaves of the coca tree, maybe? I'm just guessing. We did a lot of unhealthy things back in the day to achieve what we thought were optimal results. But recently, I've been giving a lot of thought to what I can do to be more intentional with my choices now and get the most out of life going forward. Maybe you're in the same boat. Something you may not know about me is that cute little insecure teenager in my old home videos would eventually gain over 100 pounds by the time she was 40. Yep, I packed it on after that third baby. There were some health issues that contributed to that, like severe back pain and being hit hard by postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS for short. If you're wondering what in the world that is, like I was when I was diagnosed, I've linked a video that covers that in the description. Both of those conditions made exercising extremely difficult. But if I'm being honest, there were a lot of super yummy and super unhealthy food choices that contributed to my weight gain as well. I certainly don't get a pass on that one. As I mentioned earlier, my give a darn had long since busted, and vanity alone was not going to be enough to make me lose weight. I was raising kids, I was teaching, I was living life. I had more important things to worry about than what the scale said or how my jeans fit. I must confess, I would attempt a popular diet every now and then, which would always cause me to lose a few pounds, but those pounds would eventually return, bringing 10 of their friends with them. As you may know, that diet merry-go-round is exhausting. I got so tired of it that I just stopped trying to fight my weight. I now realize that I was very insulin resistant by that point, so my body was fighting a lot harder to hang on to that fat than I was to lose it. I didn't get serious about losing weight until my health finally demanded it. In August of 2020, I got the results back for some routine blood work. It seemed like overnight I went from being fat and relatively healthy to having high cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood sugar. I even had high blood pressure and would soon be diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. That'll wake you up. I was full of inflammation and had pain everywhere, including excruciating migraines. I didn't know what to do. I had already cleaned up my diet quite a bit and was drinking more water to manage my POTS, but it wasn't making a huge difference in my weight or my overall health. After making more positive changes in an effort to improve my cholesterol, blood sugar, and liver enzymes, with little to no improvement, I decided it was time to get serious. Just days before Christmas 2021, I had gastric sleeve surgery, something I was sure I would never do. Every person is different and should do their own research, consult their doctors, and decide what is best for them. But for me, it was the best decision ever. It gave me the chance to hit the reset button on everything. It forced me to learn proper nutrition and make a renewed commitment to my health going forward. I did expect a quick fix, but I lost weight more slowly than a lot of the people I knew who had had gastric sleeve, and I definitely had moments of discouragement. But I just stayed the course, and slowly but surely, I achieved the desired results. I have now lost just shy of 100 pounds and have kept it off for 2 years. Weight loss surgery is not the easy way out, and it sure isn't magic. For me, it was a tool I utilized to make a fresh start, and it was completely up to me what I did with that fresh start. I can say unequivocally that choosing to take what some may see as a drastic measure was a positive choice for me. I can't remember if I've ever felt this good. My blood work is now all normal, and being able to exercise without pain and being wise about my nutrition is working for me. I was even able to get off of all the medication I was taking to control my POTS symptoms. Most days, I don't even have to think about POTS at all. I'm free from pain and enjoying every day to the fullest. There are days when I still can't believe what my life looks like now. I shudder to think where I would be if I had let fear of the unknown or aversion to change keep me from taking that leap. I am not saying all of this to promote weight loss surgery or even weight loss in general. This is just my story. But I've realized that now is a great time to consider how we want to spend the second half of this beautiful life. Are we going to take better care of our bodies so we can hopefully spend more time on the golf course and less time in a hospital? Are we going to take that chance we've always wanted to take but never quite had the guts while we still can? Are we going to watch our old home movies and lament the choices we've made in the interim, or course correct and start making the choices that serve us best? There's no time like the present. As a wise band from New Jersey once said, whoa, we're halfway there. One thing's for sure, as long as there's breath in our lungs, we can change our life's trajectory for the better. Or maybe even just take the time to celebrate the fact that you've got it all together and there's nothing to change. I can't relate, but that's awesome. Either way, I encourage you to set worthy goals and claim your victories. Let's encourage one another and make the most of midlife together. If you have a story about overcoming your personal circumstances, whatever they may be, and changing your life for the better, I'd love to hear it. You can email me at genxjuggler@gmail.com. I'll link that in the description. I may even share your story in a future episode, with your permission, of course. That does it for this episode of the Gen X Juggler podcast. I look forward to our next time together. Until then, friend, let's keep on juggling.
Take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you 'cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.